welcome to Lunch with the Leader. I finally got the house quiet enough to film this, and I realized that in that I probably didn't do the best job. I've been not doing so well recently, and I haven't really figured out why. And my wife brought up a good point that maybe I haven't actually grieved this whole thing that is happening. And she's right because I don't like feelings. I don't like to feel. I don't trust my feelings, and I run away from them. I just don't deal with them. The problem is it starts to come out in other areas of my life, like the way I deal with my kids, my attitude, my stress levels, different things like that. And so that's what I want to talk about today. There's a verse I want to share with you. 2 Corinthians 1, say at the end of chapter 1, verse 9. It says, "But this happened that we might not rely on ourselves, but on God who raises the dead." And I am someone who tends to rely on myself. I tend to just try to grunt it out and be strong and get through. And I realized through this time is a great opportunity to rely on God because I can't control this. I'm not going to get through it by myself. So a few things I want to share is the whole grieving process that I'm not good at. So please don't look at me as like someone to lead in this, but I know what it needs to happen. There's 5 steps to grief that you've probably heard of: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. People have even argued that there's another one, meaning. Those are not meant to go in like order like that. They're kind of all blended together and they come up at different times. So I want you guys to recognize a couple things from that. Denial. I know people that are close to me that are just kind of like, hey, this is just the flu. It's not a big deal. And this is a huge deal to other people. So recognizing that is a possibility of where part of the grieving process is. Being angry. Brene Brown, I love, talks about anger is the discharging of pain. The pain that I feel from this comes out on the people that are around me. Bargaining. If we only did this, then we could get back to life as normal, is an example of that. Depression, helplessness, sadness, shutting me down. Like it's very, very hard to deal and hard to feel for me, and I don't like doing it. So that's a hard place for me to go. One of the reasons is feeling is tiring. So if you felt more tired during this time, that is the reason why, because you're feeling a lot. The Western secular worldview that we live in is the hardest with dealing with suffering. We're always looking for like the next best fix. We're wanting to blame somebody or something for this virus or for whatever's happening. One of the last one is going to be acceptance, and this is where we actually accept what we're in. And then the one that's meaning is really interesting. There was a guy named Viktor Frankl that studied people who survived the Holocaust. And Holocaust was much worse of a situation than we're in right now. And the people that were surviving through the concentration camps were not the toughest, were not the strongest, were not the ones that were relying on themselves. They were the ones that had meaning for why they were suffering. And that's what I want to encourage you guys today is dig down into yourself for the meaning of our purpose in life, why we're here. Some of the ways to do that is to be in relationships and look at our relationships. Grieving is not something that you can do. Like as soon as my wife told me like, hey, you're not grieving, I was like, all right, well, how do I do it? Like, teach me how to do this. Like, let me learn how to do it. It's not something that you do. It's what's done to you. So I want to encourage you guys. Relationships are super important. Making sure that you're fostering those relationships with those close to you. Writing out your pains. I hate writing. I don't journal well, but I have one, and I need to be doing that more to actually help with that. And have a mantra. One of the mantras that I love, I think Louis Giglio has brought it up. It's breathing in, I can't, but Jesus, you can. And so that's what I want to encourage you guys today is just realizing that we're never alone in our pain. God says he'll never leave us, never forsake us. Hebrews 13:5 is one of my favorites. It says, keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have, because God has said, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. And so keep your eyes focused inwardly on your relationship and growing closer to God at this time, rather than what's going on around us. Thanks for watching.